Hey everybody, Tim here with today's review of Doctor Who, story number 8, The Reign of Terror. So to be honest with you, this story it didn't do it for me. When I think of Doctor Who, I think of like the really sci-fi, the going out in space, the aliens, stuff like that. Like the last episode's the perfect thing that I think of with Doctor Who, with the Sensorites. Whereas this was more of their original vision for Doctor Who. It was more educational, and like the very first episode where it was all about like going back to the caveman days. Whereas this one, it's all about, they go back to July of 1794 for the French Revolution. And like for me, I don't know, I just wasn't interested in it as much as I probably should have been. So this story is 6 episodes long, and at one time all 6 episodes were missing, and then in the 70s and the 80s they found episode 6 first, and then they ended up finding episodes 1, 2, 3, and then another copy of 6, but 4 and 5 have always been missing. So this is also the first story that we're going to encounter chronologically where they actually animated episodes 4 and 5. And it's really interesting to kind of watch how they do it. Because, like I said, if you guys watched my very first introduction, there's the story that there's 97 episodes missing. But it's not really true. The audio for all of those episodes is still out there somewhere. And so they've been taking that audio and just animating around it. And it's really interesting to kind of watch what could have been. So the episode starts out pretty kind of like standard, where Barbara and Ian just really want to leave the TARDIS. They're just like, "Doctor, please take us home. Please just let us go." And the Doctor's like, "I could have done that whenever I wanted. Fine, I'll take you there." And they arrive on Earth, and everybody's like, "Okay, this looks pretty good so far." But they're in France, not England. And then they're in 1794 instead of 1964. So the Doctor, once again, just completely misses the mark. And a little cameo, or a little joke that I've caught on, that this is usually stuff that I miss, but so when Doctor Who was being filmed, they only had a certain amount of time, a certain amount of footage, and they couldn't really do a lot of retakes, which is part of the reason why William Hartnell ended up leaving as the first Doctor, is because with his age, he kept messing up his lines. And there's certain times when you can kind of tell that, where he just kind of like stutters a lot, and they just kind of wrote it into his character. This is one of those instances where it's not the Doctor, but they arrive and there's like some commotion going on, and Ian Chesterton is like, "Well, I'm gonna go check it out." And as he starts to walk away, Susan says, "Be careful, Bill." Well, in real life, his name is Bill. It's William Russell. So that kind of made me laugh that they did that, and either nobody caught it, or they were just like, "You know what? We don't have time to refilm this. Just keep going." So I like that. So they land during the French Revolution, and Barbara even says, like, he took us to the Reign of Terror, which, I mean, I'll be honest, like, I'm a little bit rusty on my French Revolution history, but I liked how she actually announced the title of the story, so that was kind of cool. And finally, they go into this building, and there's all sorts of commotion going on, and Barbara, Ian, and Susan get kidnapped while the Doctor is in the building, and it gets caught on fire. And that's how the first story ends. Like, so to me, this first episode was great. Like, that was a great introduction. From here is where it just slowly started to drag. And to be honest, like, so us today, we're accustomed to 45-minute episodes. We can do a 2-parter, but 45-minute episodes is about the standard. This episode, or this story, is 6 episodes. Each episode's about 25 minutes. So this is about the equivalent of what we think of as a 3-part episode. So it understands that by the time I get to the end of it, I'm a little fatigued. It's a little draining. But we see some interesting stuff. Like, William Hartnell has some great, offset scenes on site where he's like has to start digging because he's being captured. He has to outsmart the guard that's making them dig. So that was kind of cool. And then overall, it just kind of becomes this giant spy conspiracy where Ian gets separated from Barbara and Susan's very, very sick through most of the episode, but they don't really like give any explanation. Like, it's just, she's just not feeling well throughout. And they're all looking for this higher up secret agent for the revolution, and then it ends up being the guy that's holding them all hostage. While during all of this, the Doctor has to like get fake clothes, and he's trying to sneak his way in. Like I said, it's very interesting. It's just very long. The acting's superb. It's kind of fun to watch the offset scenes where you see the Doctor like walking through the woods. I watched on the DVD, there's a copy of Carol Ann Ford, the actress that plays Susan, where she was talking about how none of the actors were actually involved in that. They even got another person to study the way William Hartnell walks, and that's why all of those scenes are from William Hartnell of the back, and he's kind of walking up a distance, because they basically just took this guy and a camera and were like, okay, let's go film some stuff outside. So none of the actors were involved. So overall, I think it was a good episode. I don't know, these history ones are a little slow for me sometimes. But I mean, to be honest, this whole first Doctor if you've never seen Doctor Who, I usually don't recommend starting with the first Doctor because it's a little bit difficult to get into. The second Doctor starts to get more into what we think of as the Doctor, where they bring in like the sonic screwdriver and stuff like that. And then the third Doctor, where it's in color, there's unit, there's like all sorts of stuff. That's like the Doctor Who. That's where it really starts to connect. But I am enjoying the first Doctor. I think it is a fun adventure. It's just a little slow. So for those who have seen this one, what did you guys think? Especially for those that are more familiar with the French Revolution. Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching my Doctor Who videos, and I will see you guys next time for the short story, Planet of the Giants.